Karnataka produces the majority of coffee in India. And coffee in Karnataka is also grown in some of the most biodiversity rich forests that we have in the country. The Western Ghats, as you might know, is one of 22 biodiversity hotspots across the world, which means that how we grow coffees really matters. Hi, my name is Arshiya. I live in Bangalore and I'm the founder of Black Baza Coffee. Black Baza Coffee is a social and conservation enterprise that works with smallholder coffee producers across the Western Ghats of India to conserve biodiversity on coffee farms and to strengthen and secure livelihoods. I'm a human geographer and my PhD research was based at the University of Cambridge, but I spent a lot of my fieldwork doing research across Karnataka. So I spent many years in Coorg trying to understand what kind of social and environmental changes had happened in the landscape over the past 200 years. While I was doing my PhD research in Coorg, I'm spending a lot of time speaking to coffee growers about what the challenges were that they faced, and I realized that over the past few decades, coffee production in India, particularly in the state, is now shifting from what was historically a shade-grown model of cultivation to something that's increasingly sun-grown, which means there are patterns of removal of forest cover, particularly native tree species from coffee farms, as well as an increased use of chemical pesticide and fertilizer. This, of course, has a huge impact on biodiversity because when we remove native habitat, it affects all kinds of species that live in the same areas that share space with coffee plantation. That's why we began to explore a much more grassroots-led enterprise that served both issues of biodiversity conservation as well as livelihoods for smallholder coffee producers. And that's why I started Black Baza Coffee in the year 2016. I made that transition from being a social scientist and a human geographer into being a coffee entrepreneur. And that's a huge leap because my skills and training as a researcher didn't really at all prepare me for what starting a coffee roastery is, to understand how coffee is roasted, all the different steps that go into bringing coffee from a fruit to somebody's cup are things that I've had to learn along the way. So when you think of coffee in India, you think of coffees coming from Coorg, Chikmagalur or Sakleshpur. You picture these vast rolling hills of coffee, really green and lush. And our work actually started in Bihar Hills, which is actually an unknown origin for coffee. Many people don't even know that coffee grows there. Namaste. The average landholding in this area happens to be about half an acre or 1 acre. All of this coffee was grown fully organically under forest cover, and people who were cultivating on that small parcel of land on the edge of the forest, the only person who would come to buy their coffee would be the farm gate trader, and that person would say that the market price of coffee was such and such or whatever, but people were not even getting the market price for that.
But
one of the things that I observed which really disturbed me was the fact that when market traders were going to people's lands to buy their coffee, they were not even weighing that coffee bag in front of them.
ಈ ತೂಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 100 kg ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದರೆ
ಅದನ್ನೊಂದು 50 ಕೆ ಜಿ ಅಥವಾ 70 ಕೆ ಜಿ 80 ಕೆ ಜಿಗೆ ಬಂದು ನಿಲ್ಸೋದು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ತೂಗ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಅದೇ ನಮಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಸರಿ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅದರಿಂದ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ತೊಂದರೆಗಳಾಗ್ತಾಯಿದ್ದಾವೆ. ಕಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟು ದುಡಿತಾಯಿದ್ದೆ ಬರ್ತಾಯಿಲ್ಲ, ಬರ್ತ ಮೇಲೆ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಬೆಳೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಮಗೆ ಭಾಳ ತೊಂದರೆ ಐತೆ.
So this really bothered me, and I realized that just a simple system of transparency could perhaps solve many of the challenges that growers were facing. In the first year, we bought 35 bags of coffee. I remember that really clearly. We weighed every bag of coffee in front of the grower. We gave them a receipt for the amount of kilos that they had given us, with what the price paid to them was. We showed them what the market price of coffee on that day was. And I remember it changed so much. We've come a long way since then. It's not only us that now follows this system. Even the existing traders who've been in that landscape, whose status quo we disrupted or whose process we disrupted, even they now have to follow this system where they now weigh their coffee in front of people, pay people at least market price, give them a receipt for the amount of money they've paid for how many kilos and so on. So things have changed in a very big way in that landscape just by being transparent. After some years of working in the market, we realized that the potential of smallholder producers to earn from what could be a commodity market was limited. Even if we paid them higher than market price, their take-home income is still insufficient to be able to survive with year-to-year expenditures. And we felt that there was an opportunity to be able to enable to push farmers to be able to get an even higher price from their coffee if we transition into a specialty coffee business. So specialty coffees are coffees that are just grown with a lot more care, right from how coffee is picked, the time of ripening of the coffee, the post-harvest processing of the coffee, the drying, the storage, and finally the roasting. Through this transition to a specialty coffee business, we're able to pay 1.5 to 1.6x the price of coffee in the market for specialty coffee. So the flavor of coffee has also come a very long way, even in a small landscape like BR Hills. So when we first started, coffee was actually being picked. Both a mix of ripe and unripe coffees were being picked, and they were dried directly on the ground. Sometimes they were directly dried on the soil. And that really affected the kind of flavor of the coffee, because there's a lot of moisture that's absorbed from the soil into the fruit, which then shows up in the final cup of coffee. Things have come a very long way. We have really worked on training community members and coffee growers on what growing and producing specialty coffee is. So now coffee is dried above the ground on raised drying beds. There's a lot of post-harvest processing and fermentation that goes into coffee to enhance the flavors. And we also do a lot of experimental flavors of coffee, from honey processed coffees to anaerobic fermentations of coffees to co-fermentations of coffees with ginger, with kombucha, with sugarcane juice. One of the most crucial starting points of how you produce specialty coffee is when coffee is picked. And a lot of training and work and effort has gone into what is the right color of ripeness of coffee fruit when it's picked. For example, when coffee is picked when it's ripe, there's a higher sugar percentage in that coffee, which then ends up producing all of the rich flavor towards the end. So one of the activities that we started, particularly with the women, because the women are the primary pickers of coffee fruit, is a nail polish party.
Madama, ee color hannod kuibeku.
Where we all paint our nails with the right color of coffee ripeness. so that we know that when we're picking fruit, whether the color of the fruit matches our nail polish.
ಅದು ಬೇಡ.
I think because the coffee industry is as large as it is, it's supposedly the second most highly valued commodity in the world after oil. I've always wondered whether the small effort that we're making here can really have any difference. Can we shift the needle even in India, forget globally? And that sometimes feels intimidating, it's exhausting. I wonder whether any of the work that we're doing is worth it. When I started Black Baza, it was just me, and now we have a really robust team of 10 people and then many growers that we partner with. So even when there are moments when I'm feeling dejected or hopeless or feeling like uncertain about the work that we do, there are now the energies of so many more people that I can actually rely on, draw energy from to be able to keep me going.